Good evening and welcome to round 11 of the Skypoynt NASCAR Trucks E-Series. We come to Indianapolis Motor Speedway to bring you all the action live. It's going to be a great night of racing. We've got 30 odd drivers in the server again tonight. What a series it's been. I can't believe it's round 11. My name's Petey Gretton, riding solo here tonight. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be great. And our thoughts go to Jai. Get better, mate. We'll try and catch you on Sunday for the Type N events, Daytona 12 hours. But first and foremost, get better. And let's see how these guys can do here tonight. We're in practice and we're just about ready to roll, ready to get into qualifying. All the good stuff is going to be on display here tonight. Tyres, more so than fuel, is another thing that I'm hearing. We're live, as I mentioned, on the Skypoynt Oval Leagues as well, on Facebook and YouTube. Share the love, share it around, get all eyes on it, get the follows up, notifications. That entry barrier, just getting a little bit of an adjustment by a driver there, but it's going to be a good night of racing, a great night of racing in fact. 51.25, 51.25, they're the two fastest times out in practice at the minute, Roppy and Douglas. Coming off Super Speedway here at Indianapolis. And I had to second guess and have a look and have a research more into the banking. 9.2 degrees. I looked and went, no, that can't be right. So I went and looked elsewhere. But that's correct, 9.2, and my accurate measurement of bugger all on the straights. Little to no banking on the straights, on the flats that you can see there. In the real world, Speedway, Indiana. That's the location of this track. It's the oval layout. 2.5 miles in length around here, so equal length is the straights either side. Almost a perfect rectangle with curved corners. I just might add here, I didn't finish, but I did do the Indy 500, I think last season. I didn't finish, but I wrecked it about 138 laps, so devastated, but great track. NASCAR trucks here tonight. They're going to do it proud. They're going to do it justice. 7 seconds in practice before we get into qualifying. Roffy, quickest one out there in practice. How's he going to go in on race trim? Got all the big names in here as well that we've seen throughout the course of this series. Dave Douglas, he's definitely one of the names you'll see up there here tonight. Skurlock, Noddy Tompkins, of course Stevie Williams in here, Troy Mortensen, Chris Tomlin, all the big names. Adam Malone, all the Southern Stars. Tyson McAvoy making an appearance here tonight, so welcome. Darren McKenzie's out on track at the minute for Southern Stars. Just exiting pits. 2 laps. 2 laps closed qualifying here, so they get the track to themselves. No draft in play, but like they would have had in practice. Nice slow out lap. See how they go. Feeling I need a little bit more a gain volume there. Gives a shout out how it goes. Working out these A50s. Beautiful headset. Round 11, Skypoynt NASCAR Trucks E-Series. Qualifying underway, riding on board. Darren McKenzie, 02. Waiting for the times to come up. The favourites tonight. Well, I would have to say any of the Southern Stars, Skurlock and Williamson, all them, I think they get a free pass up there for favourite. Or very low odds at least. Tyres more than fuel is like I've mentioned, and would have been advised to call this race as, so we'll see how true to form that is here tonight. We've got some pretty good camera angles brought to you by Track Cams the Gourmets. They're going to come into play tonight, and the times now are coming in 51.52, 51.72. Dave Douglas, first one out, or one of the first ones out, and his time holds, so the times come in. Denny Vassell we've seen up there and thereabouts is 52.24, first one out. Luke Trahair, he's on a fly now, still yet to set a time. The times still come in thick and fast, but Douglas time 51.52. We've seen that in practice, but it still holds. Crummy in here as well. LCR Racing. He's on a lap. Jump on board. We'll see him do well here tonight. What times can he put in? What time can he start off the grid? He's got his teammate Chris Tomlin racing alongside him here tonight, but at the minute, Dave Douglas, 51.31, so he bettered that time. 51.39 for Roffey. 51.55 for Gosling, McAvoy, Vassell, Malone, Roffey. Aiden Chills is up there as well in 6th position with a 51.60. Not much in it with the times. Qualifying 2 laps, that's it. No draft. Dave Douglas with the time of 51.31. I think is going to be the winner in the pole time. Jason Holdsworth, Nitro, we're going to see him move up, 51.67. In fact, into 7th is what he could do here tonight. Hey, Luke Trahair, there we go, 51.26, 500s rather. Takes that pole position in the dying moments of qualifying. Luke Trahair, Dave Douglas, Roffey, Malone moves up with the time. 51.47. Noddy Tompkins is still out there. No, he's parked up. Couple of late movers. And a couple of drivers just going okay then. Let's put the foot down and have a good crack. Trahair, 51.26. Fastest lap. Pole position. He'll start alongside Dave Douglas, Roffey, Malone, Gosley. That's your 5 so far, and McAvoy will round out. That'll be your first 3 rows. Tyson McAvoy, I think, on debut here for Skypoynt NASCAR Truck E-Series. See what the guys can do here tonight, but it's going to be a race of getting out of the way, keeping clean, buying your ticket to the end. I think a little bit different than super speedways, but playing, I think, the race strategy. I think that's going to be the way it plays out here tonight, with just being there at the end and being smart with the moves you make and all that sort of good stuff, when all us guys and girls that are watching that sort of take that stuff for granted, where it's just turn left, they say. It's definitely a little bit more than that, as round 11 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Skypoynt NASCAR Trucks E-Series. Shout out to Skypoynt. Shout out to Tom as well on holidays. Luke Trahair, Dave Douglas, they'll have the front row. 51.26.4 for Trahair. Dying moments in qualifying. That was within seconds to get that in. Roffey and Malone, they'll have the second row. Gosley and McAvoy, that'll be the third row. Denny Vassell, watch him. He's a name that I've kept a keen eye throughout this series so far. He'll start alongside Southern Stars Esports driver number 1. Aiden Schulz. 9th and 10th will be Holdsworth and Tompkins. 11th and 12th, Andy Barber and Kim Roffey. Alex Smith and Bruns. There's another Roffey in here, Tony Roffey. Start out of 15th alongside Reese May. Mackenzie, Southern Stars. Start alongside Kay Donnelly, Blackburn and Crum. Spencer and Stevie Williams there, 22nd. Nigel Seidel and Troy Mortensen, that'll be 24th. Big field here tonight once again. It's been a good turnout every round so far this series. Keep turning up. It's great to watch. Jay Mallow, Tristan Koch, Derek Jacobs racing from the United States in 27th. Skurlock back down 28th. Watch him move up. Gary Wellman's another one. Michael Berta, Kobe Jordan, Chris Tomlin, Maxie Marshall, and Pacey Clegg. 34 trucks out here tonight. The pace car peels off. Just about ready to get a race start. Luke Trahere with that time only just pipped Dave Douglas in the dying stages of that qualifying. Gives a shout out as well. How's that car? How's that audio? Dan Stevens, have a good race, MFR boys. I hope all the boys have a good race. Give us a shout out. How's this audio? Let's get it cracking. Round 11. Can you believe it? Skypoynt NASCAR Trucks E-Series. Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Douglas, Trahere, front row, Malone and Roffey. Watch for this. Thanks, Brett. Have a look at these angles as well. Track camps are gourmets. Dave Douglas is there, showing his intent. Cheers, Treads. Cheers. Sean. Sit back, have a good night, eh? It's going to be a good night of racing. Indianapolis, 80 laps here tonight. Let's get some green racing. Big names in here. Good track, very good track. Douglas, Trahere, Malone, well behaved, very well behaved on the restart. Geico zone will be in play. Newly scanned surface here at Indianapolis. We've seen what happened last round. We're going to see the same again, getting caught off guard. Pace truck, lights are out. We form up. 30 strong field. The engines are going to roar any minute. Have a look at this. 2 lines astern here. Skypoynt NASCAR E-Series, round 11. We're green. We're going. Good stuff from Luke Trahere. Goes down into 1. Down on the low line. Single line astern. Trahere, Douglas, Roffey, Malone. All gets off nice and cleanly. Nothing showing up on the radar in terms of incidents. Nice start here at Indianapolis. Tyre game is what it's going to be here tonight. Single line, have a look at that. Here we go. Green racing here. That's what we're going to see, I do believe. Adam Malone running on board. Truck number 3. Trent Gosley behind. Craig Roffey in front. Staying there and thereabouts in the front row. Have a look at these. You're going to have a look at some of these static cameras because these guys are moving. And how good's it look when they just pass the camera single line? Up 2 of 80. Skurlock taking the under the white line. Back out. May have started from Pierce. They get together. Back single line astern again. Trahere leads Douglas, Roffey, Malone, Gosley. Roffey wants to have a crack, 030. That's Craig Roffey down the inside. Dave Douglas says, yeah, whatever, you can have it. It's going to be a tyre game. You can burn your tyres. When it comes to tyre races like this as well, you want to use your opponent. Push him into a false sense of security. Make him use his tyres. 3 over the wall here tonight as well. 2 pit stops to get home. possibly 3. So far, even Stevens. 52.24. That's the lap times out there so far, but we're interested in gaps. 0.1 tenth of a second between Traher and Roffey. Not much in it. Jump on board. Remember, Luke Traher beat the time dying stages in qualifying. Big run here from Roffey. Will he let off? Will he have a crack? It looks like he's going to have a crack down the inside. Here at Indy, you can work together. The slingshot can become in play. I know that's an Indy term, but it does work here on the trucks. I think one of the guys proved it last round. Let's turn my mic up. Thanks, Sarah. Let's see if the guys are going to use that slingshot effect. Lap 5 of 80, 75 to go. I think we're hanging around the front a little bit. Maybe a little bit too much. Jason Holdsworth a little bit further back from Nitro Racing. But the guy's out of sync with Skurlock. He's showing down the field 34th. He's riding up the field with these guys here, so he might look to get his lap back. Nitro and down the inside of Danny Vassell. Vassell sees him though, I think at the last minute. No contact. Starting to heat up a bit now. Roffey, Douglas, Malone, they're up the front. This is the middle pack. This is probably for 5th, 6th and 7th. Jason Holdsworth up 3 from where he started. Up 10 for Gary Wellman. Side by side a little bit further back from whoever watching now. I think that's Danny Vassell and Andy Barber. Andy Barber gets through. Danny Vassell was sitting up there probably in about 5th position. Just gone down a few. You can do that. Pull out of the way. Donnelly now pulling through on the totem. Not too sure what's happened there. Let's see if we can grab him. Looks like he's gone to pits. Let's have a look. First incident, I think, of the night. Kate Donnelly, I noticed he was Skypoynt replay is what I was going to look. I didn't quite double tap it. This is what we're talking about. Doesn't want to show me. Let's go back live. There we go. There's the incident. Kate Donnelly. There we go. We go back live. Roffey, Douglas, Trahan, Malone, Holdsworth. That's your 5. Run on board. That's Blackburn. Down in 20th, up 11 for Wellman. That's the driver I mentioned before. Bright green machine, 445. It's his number. On the bonnet. Can't miss it. Got Luke Crum in front of him. Greg Spencer, Reese May. That's the 3 in front. He's on the trail. In the draft. Work our way around 8 laps. Done. 72 to go. Single line. Dave Douglas, 0.2 of a second. Leading this race. Craig Roffey sticking with him though. Luke Traher, he's dropped back 2 positions since we were last up the front. And they're all moving around in the mid-pack, but the guys at the front, they've settled. They know this is going to be a tyre race. They know that this is going to be a longevity. Be there at the end, buy your time. Stay green, we'll pit green. Fairly kind pit entry here at Indianapolis as well, so that's probably one thing the drivers can take a positive out of taking green stops. 0.6 of a second now the lead. Dave Douglas, that's what he has. A little bit further back, Skurlock. He's out of sequence there, but in the mix. Loves to be in the mix. You see him up there. Andy Barber and Noddy Tompkins. Turning serve. And the guys start to just make their way around. Just float around, I think, and click over. That's what they're doing now. It all looks easy, I think, from where I'm sitting and everyone's sitting at home. They're just clicking over the laps. That's what you want to do. 80 laps in Indianapolis. Remember, the lap time's what they're doing right now. I'll throw that up on the ticker. That's the last times they're doing at the moment. The best lap times are up on screen now. So Schill's 51.9. 51 seconds. Lap around here. That's probably around about 5th or 6th around here as a couple of the Roffies start to challenge for positions. Andy Barber, one of the Southern Stars, he's back there in 7th. Aiden Schills in 6th, working together. You'll see them boys throughout. And also Adam Malone, he's due for one. We say this pretty much week in, week out, that Adam Malone, the number 3, he's up there and then something happens or strategy a little bit off. Michael Skurlock, he's going to be in there and in the mix of that as well. Adam Malone goes, you have it, mate. You have it, I'll sit behind you. Jason Holdsworth as well. I'll tell you a couple of names to be surrounded by. If I was Adam Malone, it would be these two right now. Skurlock in front of him, Holdsworth behind him. Get pushed by them guys and see what you can do. You're going to learn. Lap 11 of 80. Adam Malone in a good position in the way of trusting the guys around him. Douglas, Roffey, Trahere, there you 3. And then back to Malone. It's right on board. 0-3. There we go. 11. Up was Holdsworth passing. Now I'll tell you, if I was Adzi, I'd be sticking right with him, bringing your boys up. Remember, he's got Aiden Schills, Andy Barber. Remember, I just mentioned briefly that the guys will work as a team. They are now. They're linked up. All line astern, 5th, 6th and 7th. Southern Stars, Malone, Schills and Barber. Jason Holdsworth now wants to have a move on Skurlock. Remember, Skurlock 350's out of sequence. Malone wants to go with him. Malone wants to go with him. He wants to lead the charge. This is a 5-truck race now. Lap 12 of 80 though, getting a little bit excited. Southern Stars back off. It's about just outside top 5. Dave Douglas doing a good job. These guys doing even better. Aiden Shield, a little bit of contact. Oh, Malone! Friendly fire. Friendly fire. Shields and Malone, both Southern Stars. Probably got away with that. A little bit of right rear to left front. Dave Douglas, so up the front. He's got a good lead, good margin. 2.43 seconds. Back to Roffey. Roffey was right on his tail before, but starting to push away. Get a little bit of a lead now, I'll tell you. With what we've seen a little bit further back, you'd probably want to be out front. You want to be in the clean air. Fascinating when they built this track. Both straights are exact the same length. I think something like 399 yards or 499 yards or something around those measurements. So it's pretty much just a rectangle with curved corners, I think I said at the top of the broadcast, and I think around about 6.9 degree banking. I have with good faith that one of the drivers said that it's going to be a tyre race. Oh, Roffey runs a little bit wide. 43 machine wants to have a crack. Good driving, stays out of the wall. Doing a good job. 15 of 80, plenty of time. Plenty of time. It's a patience race. Good battles. Let's move down. Let's move a little bit further back. There's the Southern Stars, a little bit further back still. Noddy Tompkins, he's having a good race. Reese May, a name we don't hear usually down the field. He's leading. A good field of trucks behind him. He just clips the wall there. Hopefully that's not detrimental to his truck's health, but we'll soon know. Here, being a long oval race, you'll lose positions very quickly. Just taps the wall there. Hopefully that wasn't any part. We look backwards now. Kim Roffey, Schmidt, Spencer, another Roffey there of Tony, and I think Luke Crump, you can just see, bright green car, right on the tail of these, so stay in the draft, that's what you want. 16 of 80, we're staying green for 16 laps so far. How good's it been? And green are the cars out here. You got the almost yellow cars of Roffey's, and the LCR car's green. They're probably going to shoot me saying it's yellow, but it's definitely green. Doing a good job. Actually, they're blue. It's Wellman's green car I'm looking at. That's another red face moment. One of many. 43. Luke Trahere is currently sitting in second position. Dave Douglas started to skip away a little bit. .9 seconds, Dave Douglas. There he is here, number 10. He's running his own race. He's like, all right, boys, you stay back there. And let's have a look on the rear of him, on the rear of his truck, because it's going to be interesting. This is what it looks like. 3.8 seconds. That's what you want to see. Dave Douglas, one of the favourites to be a very high finisher in the championship standings. He's currently sitting in around about second or third. Skurlock's moving through out of sequence though. He wants his lap back. He wants probably a yellow if he was Skurlock. Dare say being him this high up through, he's probably first one down, a lap down. He'll probably get the lucky dog to boot. It's not over till till Barney waves the checkered flag here on the ovals. 3.9 seconds over the lead. Luke Trahere just can't get away. Jason Holdsworth, he's made his way through. Currently up 6 from where he started. We got our first caution. Not too sure what bought out that. I'll try and investigate. Douglas, Trahere, Holdsworth, Roffey. They're going to bring us to green. First caution, lap 18. Not too sure, so let's have a look. Best way, high in the air. Blimp view, Skypoynt action replay. Let's go up in the air. That's only showing us off the leader. Go back live. I'll investigate that with a little bit more care, and we'll see if we can see what happened. Doesn't look like too much happened on the list, so we'll run with having a look at who's pit and who's not as the race sort of goes back under green conditions. 19 of 80. Douglas, Trahere, Holdsworth, Roffey, Barber. That's your 5. Schultz will start alongside as well. So Southern Stars 5th and 6th. And Malone's in there as well. So we spoke about them drivers. The car's 09. And Brett's in comments. G'day Brett, how you going, mate? .097. Accident at pit entry. Alright, so that's what's brought out the yacht. The caution, thanks mate. Accident at pit entry. I wonder if Scully will get his lap back as well. let's get a chat with Brett. Brett Campbell. He's no slouch to oval racing. We'll bring him into the broadcast booth under caution here, or just undeafen under caution. Brett Campbell, mate, you're in comments. I didn't see you there. Well, I'd seen you there at the last minute, but what have you seen so far, mate? Welcome, first and foremost, to great night of racing so far. 20 laps before our first caution.
Yeah, mate, she's been pretty good. I'm surprised that it's taken sort of this long for us to have our first caution. But yeah, the racing's been pretty good so far.
And who's your, who's, you know, I suppose not favourite, but who's sort of your low odds driver to be successful here? We're probably going to see another caution, hopefully not too close together, but Douglas and all them guys, they're ones to beat. Is there any sort of people out there or driver out there that you can, that's sort of long odds that could, you know, come away with the W? Surprise win, so to speak?
I don't know about a surprise win. I would say keep your money on Michael Skurlock, so long as he doesn't have any hardware issues. Dave Douglas, Luke Trahere, or maybe even Jason Holdsworth.
Jason Holdsworth, Nitro Racing, we know how quick that team is, so he's definitely going to be up there and paying long odds if there was any, but it's going to be good to watch Skirley. I think he would have got his lap back after this caution. Brett, you're probably a little bit more up to speed with it.
Just looking at what timing I've got in front of me, it does look like Skirley has gotten his lap back. And by the look of it, he's now in P27.
Definitely one of the drivers here to watch is Dave Douglas. Now he set away, didn't he? Dave Douglas set away for a lead, good lead, and that's gone down to nothing. Do you think pick a mate and stick it like Super Speedway is useful here, or get a lead like Dave Douglas did earlier is sort of the way to go? Get out of the shit, if I can say that.
Well, mate, to be honest, I really think that whoever is the person that can look after their tyres, get the maximum amount, maybe even save a set for the last 15, 20 laps, that person is probably going to be the one that's going to win this race.
Tyres is what I've heard, and that's the way I've been calling it. How many laps you done around here, mate, and how many laps you reckon you get out of a set as we're just about to go green?
Mate, I'm not 100% sure. I've done it in quite a few of the different cars. Like I've done it in the supercars, in the Australasian supercar. I've done it in the next gen prior to the current model as such of what we're racing now. And me personally, and this is only through inexperience basically from my point of view, I struggle to keep the right front tyre on the car. It really does give me hell, so to speak. And Aiden in car one, he's thrown me under the bus quite a few times here, talking to me, and then the next thing, I've ended up in the wall because I've blown a tyre.
Let's see if any of these drivers blow tyres here tonight. We hope not. It's been green so far. The pace truck peels off. Dave Douglas will lead us here to green. First restart from caution is underway. We're green already. Lap 21 of 80. We'll click over 22. Dave Douglas will lead us to green. He goes high. He goes with him. Trahere and Nitro Racing. Jason Holdsworth. He wants to have a crack. And Andy Barber, number 5, is having a crack as well. All then Southern Stars link up once again, and the field compressed, but still going with this single line.
Single line around here is probably the safest way to go. Unless you can get a good toe out of the corners, it's really hard to pass in this place unless you've got that extra drive going out of the corner.
As you can see, different lines taken, as I think that was almost witnessed on Wellman and Malone. Just what you're saying, we're right on board with that, because I think 3 and 4 is probably a good indication where you can get out of there with, you know, onto this straight, one of the straights, one of the two straights, a little bit better than the guy in front. So we'll watch 3 and 4, I think, and see how they get out of that. But number 3, Adam Malone, he's got Wellman right behind him, and I think you drive around with number 3, Adam Malone, a lot. He's due for one, isn't he, mate?
Yeah, mate, he is. And just in the previous shot there, I'm pretty sure I saw Skirling diving back to the pits. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, Skirlock, I believe, just got his lap back and then down under the pits. Mike Berta says his race is over, so that's unfortunate, mate. Yeah, that we'll have to try and get a look at that and see what happened. But we're staying green. 23 of 80, Adam Malone. And Gary Wellman on screen. Up 21 positions for Wellman, up 22 for Chris Tomlin. Chris Tomlin, he's got the pace. He probably hasn't got the results that he would have liked so far this series, but have a look at him tucked under one of the Roffies, and he's due for one, I think, 2-1-2. One of the many, I think. I think if I keep talking, Brett, everyone's going to be due for one. Oh, like Oprah Winfrey giving him, Winfrey, oh no, just stopped it. Like Oprah giving away like hot chocolates.
Yes, very good, most definitely. I'll go back and I'll see if I can find out what happened to Michael Berger and the 017 in that previous I'm in the session as a spectator, so I'll go and have a look and see what I can find out.
Yeah, that'd be good if you could. I'm just going to make a little bit of a audio adjustment. I think it might be a little bit low. But how good's the racing been so far? And before I do that, while the volume's high, while the racing's hot, have a look at this. Gary Wellman down the inside of Aiden Schulz. Sorry, that was Adam Malone. Jump up the front though while it's compressed, as I mentioned. Let's crank it up. Let's have a look at some of these awesome camera angles. Track Cancer Gourmets. Dave Douglas leads round 11, Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series. Here, thanks to Skypoynt. Tune in. Crank it up. Dave Douglas starting to do what he done in the previous segment or stage of the race, as I say, before the caution came out, Brett. He's starting to step away now with a gap of 0.8 of a second. I think that's the key. Get away from it and see what he can do. He's obviously comfortable out front.
Yeah, Dave is a master of controlling the car and being able to keep the tyres on it. I mean, he's like all of us. He has had different periods where he has had some bad luck in the races. But on the whole, what I've raced with Dave, he is a very clean racer, and he might go to the front and then he'll just drop right to the back. And then just come back to it.
That's what you can do here, and that's what we can see. Drop to the back and work your way through, be there at the end, and well, he's not doing that here tonight, is he, Dave? He's out in front. Nitro Racing, Holdsworth, he's there in third position. I think he looks content, doesn't he, Holdsworth, just sitting behind the 43.
Yeah, Jason is another driver. He'll give you room, and he is patient. He will just wait, pick his time, notice the mannerisms of your car, and when your tyres are starting to go, his car is still running perfect, and he manages to look after his tyres pretty much the same as Dave Douglas.
You've been watching the race just as much as me, Brett, even before you come into the commentary. It's great that you joined. Have a look at those cars past the camera. Any cars that you would think have noticeable damage? I know we've noticed a couple of cars just go high up into a couple of them walls. Have you noticed any drivers that we should keep an eye on in in the way of lack of speed because of a little bit of damage?
No, not at the moment, mate. I mean, I haven't noticed Adam Malone dropped off at all, much at all. He seems to be staying pretty stationary. But yeah, I mean, everybody seems to be running fairly well at the moment. But going back to that first caution, Pete, lap 17 for Michael Berta and Denny Bassel. Denny Bassel came together just coming out of turn 4.
Yes, so we'll see with that. We don't have race control, but we will have a live race control briefing after, well, probably about 5 minutes after we finish up in commentary. So we'll definitely have a look at that replay. I don't have anything to go from here, unfortunately, because it didn't show up as anything. So that's one thing that maybe we can put into a suggestion for the great people at SDK Gaming to try and get different points. How to grab replays, but never mind. Have a look at this. Wellman, Roffey, Tomlin, McKenzie, and Smith just behind leading Spencer. But these three guys have been battling, and Wellman has been holding them off the whole time. But these guys, I think, especially with Chris Tomlin, starting to push his way through now. He wants to have a look. I think these guys, they'll find themselves on the back of this lead pack in no time, because they're starting to push now 3 wide almost.
If they're a game of men, then I am trying to run 3 wide around Indianapolis. Like I said before, this track is notoriously hard on your tyres. And like I said before, the person who looks after those tyres the best, they will more than likely come out the winner.
And also, I think I made the call before, Brett, that you can use the high tyre deck to your advantage in the way of pushing your opponent to, you know, into a race that he doesn't have to have, and to use up his gear while you know what you're doing, and you're allowed for that, but he hasn't, and then you just get him at the end. That's one sort of play in it, can't you? You can really push your opponent to wear his tyres.
That's correct, and like I said before, pure inexperience of somebody who, like myself, I've only been doing iRacing myself for just on 12 months now. People are still learning their racecraft and learning how to the right place to lift for a corner, the right place to start accelerating out of the corner. There's a lot of mechanics to driving a car that, I'll be honest, even I didn't know about when I first come into the simulation.
Lots of things to take into consideration. These guys are doing a good job though. One caution here tonight, lap 20, 32 of 80. That's where we stand now. Doesn't look like we're going to be under caution. Green's pit stops is going to be underway, I think, when we need to do it. And also, I think one bonus that they have here at Indy is it's not too hard to get a stop down pit road. So I think all the guys will be happy with doing green pit stops, because it's not tricky, as you see Roffey now down the inside of Wellman. This little battle's been happening for a while. Wellman and Kim Roffey. Plenty of room given. Not there yet.
Yeah, that's right, mate. And the thing with Indianapolis is, depending on which way they've got the pit entrance coming, so like you can see on that footage there, you've got like a bit of an inside track there, which is an entrance off to pit road off turn 3. Most of the drivers here will take it off the exit to turn 4. So if the driver who is trailing somebody in the draft doesn't anticipate the lead car going for a pit stop, we may very well have some action at the start of the pit road.
I think we've seen in the practice a couple of drivers just making head-on collision, couldn't make up their mind, left or right, so they went straight ahead into the end treatment of the pit entry. Water barrels there, I think. So hopefully that doesn't happen here tonight. But I think I did see 1 or 2 drivers. I don't even know who they were, to be honest, Brett, so we can't even shame them. But yeah, I think that's there's a cone there, actually, just a yellow cone, just straight into the concrete. I did see a couple of drivers do that. I suppose they've got to be careful.
Yes, and I will admit it is from, like, once again, inexperience on my part, it can be a hard pit lane to get into, and get into cleanly, as is the exit.
Just watching this little bit of a battle down here. Kim Roffey currently sitting in 10th position, up 2 from where he started. He's behind Gary Wellman, up 20. Chops in this battle here as well. So battles are there and thereabouts, all up the field, everywhere you look. But I think now the drivers are just clicking over laps. I don't think there's any need to fight. Brett, correct me if I'm wrong totally, but I don't think, my opinion right now, the way these drivers are driving is there's no rush. 35 of 80, still plenty of time to go. What's that, 45 to go?
No, mate, I know. And one of the beauties about Indianapolis is the amount of time that it takes to transit pit road, do your service, and get back out on the track. The chances that you will actually lose a lap is very slim. Or if you do go down a lap, the only reason why you do is because you're right at the borderline of that lap time.
We'll watch that as well when they start to pit. It'd be good to make a pit stop and not go down a lap. On board this battle now, 030 right up the rear of Kim Roffey, starting to make his way round. Does he want to make a move as we ride on board? A little bit of a gap now as he lifts off into the corner. Different ways you can take Indianapolis, isn't it, Brett? I haven't done much in the trucks, but I know in the Indy it's a fairly challenging track, and one that them white walls, very inviting, as we're going to see 3 wide on board action with Luke Crum. Splits him down the centre. He's nowhere near the walls, straight down the middle. Good piece of driving there from all of them, but them white walls, they can suck you in.
And that is 100% true, Pete. Those white walls can suck you in, and once you do get sucked into those walls, they hurt.
All concrete, no tyres. You're going to spend time through the pit lane as we pass now for another way around. 37 of 80. We haven't even gone halfway. And we're still a couple of pit stops away from being able to get home, I do believe. This mid-pack's intriguing me to go a little bit further back because we've got Greg Spencer in a cracker of a battle. He's got 37. I think that may be an out-of-sequence car, Tyson McAvoy. But yeah, good little battle.
We've had quite a few cars go sorry.
We've got about 6 cars here, and they're starting to juggle around each other now. 42 laps. Biggest mover so far. It's got to be Wellman up 20. No, Tomlin up 24. Just started a lap. He's got clean air. He's got Mackenzie in front of him. He's got a battle a little bit behind him. Luke Crum, his teammate, in a battle with Gary Wellman. Luke Crum gets through. Hope to link back up and work together. That's what you want to do, especially in racetracks here. Wellman's not making it easy though. A little bit loose out of there for the 30 of Crum, but didn't hit that wall. And that's another time he passes that corner where he doesn't hit the wall, so tick that off the list. 38 though, 42 more times to pass it. The good old tally would be pretty long afterwards, but done good to keep it off there. A little bit loose. I'd say we're getting to the end of these tyre life. I think we'll start to see pit stops in the next 5 or 10.
Yeah, and that wouldn't surprise me because I think the average fuel load around here, and I'm only guessing, is probably about 25, 26 laps.
Caution on lap number 20. We're 19 laps green so far. Pit stops. I think a little bit of caution period for those people that didn't pit, but I think they all did. Yes, they all did. I should look at my timing board before I start to speak, Brett. It's all there. But yeah, so we all went into pit. So effectively lap 20, 26 laps, I think. So 46, 45. So been another 5 laps, I think, and that was called correctly.
If my calculations are right, yeah, I would say 25, 26, maybe even 30, depending on how much they can fuel save.
Jason Holdsworth, he's not fuel saving much. He's back there in 3rd position. He's got Luke Trahere and Dave Douglas. I tell you that that gap's just gone away a little bit. 1.84 for Dave Douglas. Remember, he was probably up around about that 3.8, so a little bit of fuel consumption. Maybe caught short a little bit. It's probably a little bit easy to be caught short. Not too sure if that's the case, but when you're out in front, you just flicking laps, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm a little bit over my target. Ease up a bit without trying to lose position, but we have seen Dave just drop off a little bit there. That may or may not be the case as he finds himself in amongst traffic. That could be the reason also.
I think what you'll find is Dave will use that period as he's coming up behind some of these lap cars to try and conserve. It might only be 0.1 of a gallon of fuel, but he will try and save at least a little bit of fuel as he's trying to come up behind some of these guys, because when he's out there pushing by himself, he's using everything he can. He's using fuel. Luke Trahere and whoever's behind Luke at the moment, which I think is Jason Holdsworth, they're running fairly close, so they'll be helping each other by Jason's pushing Luke and Luke's sort of breaking the air for Jason. So as you can see, Luke's just dived for the pits, Jason stayed out, so Jason's got that little bit of an advantage of maybe 1 lap of fuel, so he'll make hay while he can and try and get it so that he'll come out in front of Luke when he does eventually pit.
He's a master of the ovals. He knows exactly what he is doing. There's Holdsworth. We've already had the pleasure of interviewing him in this series. He's bagged a couple of podiums. It's not going to be any different. Lap 42 of 80. Now we're over halfway. We've seen a pit stop. Jason Holdsworth in, and Dave Douglas is leading. So they come out about where they were. So Dave Douglas on the exit, Jason Holdsworth on the entry. They stopped to around about that 55-second mark as well. So tyres were taken, I do believe. Dave Douglas, Luke Trahere, Andy Barber. First to dive in. They come out in exact order. Holdsworth, Roffey, Wellman, Smith, Roffey. So 2 Roffies in there. Kim and Tony. On the alternate strategy. A couple of strategies playing out. It's awesome to see, and that's exactly what we love about oval racing. Dave Douglas, though, still leads it, but the gap did. No, he doesn't lead Jason Holdsworth. He's going to get him, though. He's going to get him. Jason Holdsworth on pit exit. There we go. So Dave Douglas back in the lead. Got a little bit excited. It's on the exit. Will he be able to link up to? I don't think he'll be able to link up either. Brett, what's the gapping sort of 1.5, 2.5 seconds where you lose the draft?
Yeah, somewhere around that period. And we've got to remember, Jason's still trying to negotiate pit exit. That is a hard area to do. And while Jason's done fairly well, what's the gap to him, Pete? There.
With the gap to Holdsworth to Trahare's 2.7, 2.8 seconds, and it's now gone under a second now between the leader, 0.6 of a second. But yeah, Holdsworth may just be outside of it now, but I think with a few good corners, and we've noticed in practice and in this race as well, making the exit out of 3 and 4 without getting sucked into the wall. I think with a few good lap times without overdriving, he'll be able to get up there. But I think the draft isn't detrimental per se. It's handy, but not detrimental.
What's going to work against Jason at the moment, unless he can find a back marker to slingshot, is the fact that both Luke and Dave Douglas are in such a position where Luke can actually get sucked right back up to Dave Douglas in the draft, and then Dave Douglas and Luke, they will try and work together to get away from Jason.
Let's have a look at that plays out as well. We've got a couple of drivers. No, all the drivers now have made their pit stops, and so they're on alternate strategies, but albeit only 1 or 2 laps. Is it going to be that to the end? Holdsworth getting a little bit loose on the exit. That's probably the nature of this track, but he probably is pushing to get up on the tail, but the gap 3.3 seconds, so probably a little bit outside of that. And Dave Douglas and Luke Traher pushing away. What I might do as well, Brett, I'll find these last times and best times to display up on the throw the tower up, and the last lap times for these leaders. So this is just in the last time round over the strike. Douglas 51.80, 51.93 for Traher, 52.00. Little bit slower, but not too much. Brett, you surprised with them times?
Yes and no. I mean, Dave Douglas and Luke Traher, they're running pretty much right on top of each other. And I mean, Dave will be sucking Luke, and Luke will be sorry, that came out wrong. Dave will be dragging Luke along, and Luke will be pushing Dave along. And so Jason's actually working harder on his own, trying to catch those pair of drivers.
We'll steer clear of that one as we watch the lead of this race, Douglas Traher Holdsworth. That's time point that, would you, Brett? We got to go back have a listen to that. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, how good was that blooper right here live on LRE Sports? I'm just going to highlight it again for you, Brett. But it didn't sound good, but hey, well, I tell you, live TVs, that's exactly how it happened. But 52.22 for Douglas, 52.19, 52.16. The times are close now. That's probably a little bit more accurate to what we're seeing on the screens now. Bugger all in it between these top three drivers.
Yes, and I mean, of the three of them, I haven't raced Luke very much. I do race Luke occasionally, but I mean, Luke does more NASCAR racing than what I do. And I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not really in the NASCAR, so to speak, league of drivers. So when I say league of drivers, it's more so the experience that I've got. So I'm just hearing some chatter in my ears on the race chat about something that's going on. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, I might flick through, through. We might be able to pick that up just in the way of driving, but we'll definitely keep our ears pricked again. Brett, I'm not too sure if I want to turn on the radio just yet, but good little battles I've just picked up a little bit further down the road as Noddy Tompkins is right on the back of Reese May. Is that? No, so an out-of-sequence car. So here's what you were talking about before. You can use them out-of-sequence cars to push your way through. That's the 119 car of Noddy Tompkins. And the car behind him, well, he's just laid off there a little bit. But Derek Jacobs is a little bit further behind in a big pack of cars. A couple of Rockies in amongst that. But you hear any more about that, Brett? Is there much?
There's a lot of chatter going on, but I can't work out what it's all in regards to.
No incidents are coming up, so have a look at this. 43, Luke Traher, down the inside of the left traffic, 212. That may come into play. There's Jason Holdsworth. Lap traffic of that's Ultimate Chop, or Chris Tomlin. Although Chris Tomlin's now in the draft, so let's have a look. But that's exactly what you're talking about, wasn't it, Brett? A little bit of lap traffic that can keep Jason in the race. Like 50 of 80, still 30 to go.
Yeah, and like Jason might very well be able to because he's coming up on the lap traffic, get like that slingshot move done, and gain a little bit of time on both Dave and Luke.
See what he can do as we walk a little bit further down. We've been concentrating on the front loop crump. There he is, number 30. Up 13. Up 23 for Kobe Jordan. There you go, Sarah, up 080. Kobe's doing well here tonight. Greg Spencer chasing him down, and a couple of cars. Adam Malone, Reese May, Noddy Tompkins, a couple of out-of-sequence cars in there as well. Can do you good, as we've already mentioned. Don't write off 96 of Reese May either. He's somewhat off, you know, in 11th, still in 11th, with still 29 laps to go. I think there's still a fair chance. So Reese May, he can steer. He can steer his way to a victory or two, can't he? As we see a move getting done. I think 550's Tristan Koch.
Yes, and Tristan at the moment is one of the first of the lappers. So if we get a caution at the moment, Tristan is going to be in the box seat to get the lucky dog.
And that's what you're going for as well. You can see some pretty good, and you can start some pretty hectic battles when you're not racing for the lead of the race, but you're in fact racing for the lucky dogs. I think I've been involved in a couple. I'm sure you have too, Brett. If a driver comes up and they're battling first, second with the lucky dog, well, that's almost as good as a race win, and you know, sort of the midway through.
That's a small victory in itself if you get that lucky dog because you've been involved in an incident somewhere early in the race. You're struggling to keep with the pack, you've been lapped. Just to get yourself back onto that lead lap or even gain a lap back from laps that you spent sitting in the pits. If you're unlucky enough to be in the pits for an extended period of time and go laps down, that if you get 3, 4, 5 cautions or whatever during the race and you're the owner of that first car, that could very well get you back in the race.
Michael Skurlock was one of the drivers to mention doing a little bit of a recovery drive, but it looks like he's left the serve, unfortunately. So I was just about to give him big raps and see where he was travelling. Michael Skurlock, he's not currently in the server as we look a little bit further back to 15th. So unfortunate for Skurley, he was leading the championship, and it's going to be detrimental to his Royal Triple Crown, so it just makes that somewhat impossible. Championship within a championship to win is a little bit further out of his reach, but I'm sure Skurley will fight back strong.
And Skurley's a class driver. If he has everything go right for him on a race, and this isn't to say that the rest of the drivers that he's racing are not top-notch drivers. If he don't get, you've just got to get luck in a race. If you get a bit of luck, you're in with a chance. That's all you need is just a chance.
Got to make them calls right as well when, you know what, hits the fan, that the left and right, when we get the big one in some tracks, those calls, that split seconds calls, remember we're racing at probably around about 280k an hour. Get the dashboard up on fuel. 260 kilometres an hour right now as Roffy just clips the wall. So inviting. And that little bit of a tap there, Brett, how much damage do you reckon that can do within a race aero-wise?
Mate, it depends on how hard and if it's just in, like, that might have just been just taking the paint off the side of the car. It's hard to tell. You might, depends on how hard you actually hit it in the initial hit.
We'll see if his lap times drop off after that little bit of contact, but rides it a little bit wide. And Aiden Schulz gets through there. Aiden Schulz having a good run, isn't he, mate? Obviously he's got the number 1 for the reason, defending championship. Winner obviously last season. Couple of up and down races for him, but he's definitely got the calibre, and he's having a good night here tonight, currently up 3.
Yes, he is, mate. And if you look at the movers and shakers of the field, Jason Holdsworth started in position 9. He is now in position 3. Andy Barber, who we haven't mentioned a great deal about, started 11. He's now in position 4. Luke Crum started in position 20. Is now in 7th position. Kobe Jordan started 31st and is now in 8th. And Greg Spencer started 21st and is now 9th.
Yeah, I've noticed that up and down the field all night. That it's been the movers. When there's been movers, there's been, well, you're not going up one or two, you're going up a lot. I'm not too sure what sort of brought that out, whether it was different strategies. Remember, we still have pit stop strategies to play out, but I didn't think, you know, a lap here or there, difference in strategy would see the moves like Kobe Jordan's, like you mentioned, up 23. So we'll see that play out, see if it even out as we see Shilsey just making a move on the out of sequence car there, but making his way through.
Really, when you look at it, there's only 8 cars out of 34 cars that didn't set a time the first qualifying. So it's pretty tight in this field.
And a good field as well, 34. This series keeps bringing them up, bringing the drivers, keeping them interested, and displaying great racing, especially here at Indy. We've sort of had a few stop-start races, you know, prior to this one, and this one, well, it's been all start and stop, and that's how exactly the way we love it. I know some of the other tracks where we've had a few cautions. Brett, you're more a driver than me. You probably drove a few few rounds in this series, but it really takes a toll on you when you sort of crash out early, don't you, after all the practice?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot of it. You psych yourself up as well, and it does deflate you a little bit when you do have a bad race. Like take Michigan a couple of weeks ago, when both Aiden and I came up into the booth, both taken out fairly early in the race, and you try and get in the car and drive the car after that, and you might be down 15, 20 Ks on some of these drivers, and it is very demoralising just as you sit there and you watch cars just zoom by you, and you're just sitting there trying to keep your position where you are.
Kobe Jordan's he had to reset his CPU, or Kobe had to restart his computers and couldn't qualify. His strategy was to crawl to the top. In crawling to the top, it's exactly what he's doing at a great rate of knots. Luke Crumb's his next victim. Luke Crumb will succumb. Hey, have a look at that. That was poetry, but Kobe Jordan on the charge.
Yeah, so like Cody's up to P8 at the moment, and depending on how far he is back from the leaders, Kobe's in with a chance.
I think anyone's in a chance, isn't it, really, when it comes to races like this? Everyone's sort of worked out by now who's what and how can I overtake you in the last sort of corner or so. Dave Douglas still with that lead of around about 0.6 of a second. He leads with Luke Traher behind him with the car in between.
Looks like we've got the next round of pit stops starting to take place, so this will really heat things up.
So this will be right to go to the end with 21 to go after this pit stop, Brett. So the elbows will come out, and we do know that those 50-50 moves when you're behind the wheel, when you need a pit and that move comes up, 50% of the time you pull out of it and you're like, no, I've got a pit. But when you're right to go home and that move comes up, 100% of the time you're down there and you're taking that move. So that's what we're going to see very soon with these moves that they might not have taken 10 laps ago. You can bet you know what, they're going to take them now as we almost see 3 wide. This is almost before the strategy, but I believe there's a car just going into the lane there.
Yeah, well, Tristan could also be taking the opportunity just to get out of the lane, let the leaders race. Then again, he could just be going in because he does need tyres and fuel. Now, this is probably going to turn into a tyre race, and who's been able to look after their tyres the most?
Tyres is going to be the real issue at the end of it. Have you saved it enough? Have you overdriven? And even, I suppose, this track here, you don't want to get it sideways too many times out of them exits, especially back down at the back end of the stint is what I'm trying to get out of there. So 20 laps to go. Your tyres are going to be pretty much showing signs of wear when you finish the race if you're pitting now. So these guys that are staying out, and it's probably that's what it's going to be, just allowing for those tyres just to be a little bit fresher than the guys that they're racing for. My bet, Dave Douglas will try and do the overcut and stay out later than Traher. Traher with the undercut. Jason Holdsworth, I do believe, will probably go in with Luke Traher. That's a guess, but I think just watching it, that's I'm willing to sort of put verbal dollars on it, I suppose.
Depends on how much Jason has spent in fuel, because remember he pitted 1 or 2 laps after Dave Douglas and Luke Traher. So then again, Jason could take the opportunity and dive in with both Dave and Luke Traher if they both go together, mainly to try and make it a race.
And he could beat him. He can beat him off pit road if he does that too. I just didn't think of that equation as they come in now. Jason Holdsworth follows. Let's have a look at these times, Brett. He's going to have to take on less fuel. Less fuel equals less time. Let's see if he can get these 2 positions, Brett. It could do it. Seconds can win your races. Race off pit lane. And this is just executes exactly what you were playing out.
Yeah, it does. And like you said, it also is going to matter who takes tyres. So Jason's going to hit his box first. So long as he doesn't overshoot, Jason should be able to come out either as close, if not closer to than what he was.
Let's have a look at this. Dave Douglas is down. Luke Traher's down. Holdsworth is down as well. A little bit further back in the pit boxes as well. But all 3, as they came in, Dave Douglas, Traher, Holdsworth, they will come out in the lead of the race as well. Barber, he's in the lane. Roffey, Schulz. So definitely strategies. And we're set to go. And we're set for an 18 lap absolute cracker of a race, because, well, the moves that they weren't going to make, they're definitely going to make it now. This is my time that I absolutely love about ovals, Brett, this time. Not as a driver. I absolute beat myself, if you can fill in that little beat there, but when I'm a driver. But sitting back here, I know how they feel. And
oh, Jason's a bit loose there.
Very close to getting high there, into the wall. So Jason Holdsworth almost got caught out. Cold tyres.
Yeah, cold tyres, heavy load of fuel. So Jason's just got to warm these tyres up gently at the moment, because you slide it too much, you're going to heat those back tyres up and pretty much make them ineffective, and he will have nothing to fight with.
Well, we've seen this earlier on, didn't we, where Dave Douglas, Luke Traher started to take off a little bit. Jason Holdsworth was just stuck a little bit outside. He's within the draft, though. 1.5 seconds is the gap for him, between him and the front 2. They're starting to pull away a little bit, though. A little bit further back, Andy Barber, he was in pit lane. Roffey and Schulz, they were all in pit lane as well. Andy Barber's got some clear air. And 5 seconds, in fact, back to this bunch. Kim Roffey, Aiden Schulz. Aiden Schulz gets through.
And the thing is, Jason probably will lose a little bit of time, because Luke and Dave are pretty close together on the road.
And he's going to be fighting one who's drafting, one who's not. This is where we're talking about now. So it looks like they've started to link up a little bit. No, they haven't. So I thought this was them too. No. So yeah, exactly what we're talking about. So Douglas, Traher, they're going to be lapping a lot quicker, and that's just common knowledge, isn't it, really? But then Jason, if he can stay there, I think if he can just get that little bit closer, I think that'll be more beneficial to him. But who's me to tell Jason Holdsworth how to play out a race? 16 laps to go. I think he's all over it. Douglas, Traher, Holdsworth, Barber, and Schulz is your top 5. Round 11, Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series. Indianapolis, Brett. Oh, it's living up to its name, Indy.
Mate, just in that last complex of turns going to the start-finish line, Jason gained 0.2 of a second on Luke Traher.
Jason Holdsworth starting to push to the end now, so 15 laps, as I mentioned. They're on their last set of tyres, they're on their last run of fuel. They can get home. You don't want to put it into the wall though. You put all the hard yards. Remember, we started with 80 laps on the ticker. We've only got 15 to go. You've done all the hard yards. Push hard, but don't hit the wall. People are going to get loose, and let's see who can make it home. But these guys, they're not looking at like making an error. One caution, and that was, can you believe it, at lap 20.
Yeah, I'm dumbfounded because, like I said before, Indianapolis is hard on tyres, it's hard on the driver, and it's more a case of endurance around Indianapolis.
Very hard track to get right. Kobe Jordan running by himself up 24 positions. Got to have the hard charger, I think, here tonight. Doing a great job. He's got Greg Spencer behind him.
The other thing is, as Dave and Luke come into traffic, we were talking about the back markers being like a draft for those leaders to get away. The thing is, the back markers can or cannot be your friend if you're a leader. They can hinder your progression up the track to a point where the person who's directly behind you on the road, they can actually be knocking on the door and trying to take your position.
And just because you race a little bit more than me, Brett, especially around this oval scene, mate, blue flags, it's a gentleman's thing here on oval racing, isn't it, really? There's no such penalty for not obeying blue flags. It's pretty much like, yes, you can have it, or no, you can't. But I think exactly what you were getting to with the lap traffic. If I was a leader, I'd be trying to use them, trying to get past them right when they're just about to float high, and so he can't go with you. But that's my take on it. But blue flags, Brett, there's no real rule apart from the gentleman rule. Is that correct?
Pretty much right, mate. You do not know that you have a leader who is a lap ahead of you coming behind you in oval racing. There is no warning at all.
These guys, they'll know who they're racing, who they're not. They'll get out of the way. We've seen it, we've witnessed it here tonight, we've witnessed it throughout the series. No blue flags, it's on the driver. Adam Malone though, he's going to get a top 10 if he stays where he is. 12 laps to go. He said he's due for one. I spoke to him on the podium a couple of weeks ago. He's due for a W, that's what we want to call.
Adam looks like he's actually just about to be lapped by Dave Douglas.
Yeah, Adam's a long way down. Malone's down 6 from where he started, and he's just like what we're talking about, Brett. This is exactly what we're talking about now. Is you don't have to get up there. You don't have to let him through. And look at this. And this is exactly Jesus. The car in front, the lap car in front, try and use the lap traffic to get past and drop the lap car in front. He did that briefly. Luke Traher is listening to us in commentary, I think, Brett, because he's like, nah, not today, Pete. You're not right. I'm going to make it done. But almost, but a little bit of a ploy there, I think. Get that couple of seconds reprieve.
It's probably more luck of the positioning of the car at the time than anything. And Luke was probably just marginally unlucky. Maybe Adam didn't see him coming as well to be able to get right out of the way for him to come through as well. It's a gamble.
Look at some of these cars now. Cycling through. 10 laps to go here. We've cycled around here 70 times. Aidan Schulz, you're right on board with him, up 3. Currently sitting in 5th, going to bag a top 5. Not too many incidents for Schulz tonight. That's been great. He's been unlucky, wrong place, wrong time in a couple of the rounds, and this is how we know he can race. So I hope he can have a lot more races like this as he moves around some lap traffic now. He's got a lot of clean air around him with 10 to go, but definitely one of the drivers had a pretty clean and sort of out of the cool night, really, wasn't it? We haven't really spoken about Shilsey because he's kept his nose clean.
Yeah, we haven't been able to throw him under the bus. Maybe we should give him some airtime, Pete, so he might throw him under the bus.
I can do that. I've got his webcam up there as well. He might even you might even surprise me. We got 9 to go, so this is probably a good time, Brett. I might I might arrange it. He might what I'm trying to say is he won't think that your voice will be coming when he gets pulled out of the out of his chat, but he's got plenty of air around him. Brett, you like throwing him under the bus? Let's do it.
Why not?
He's got plenty of air around him though. We'll drag him out of his team chat, Brett. I'll let you do it. So all good.
No worries, mate. Welcome to the booth, Aidan Schultz.
Hello.
How are you tonight, mate?
You've thrown me under the bus.
That was the whole idea.
Hey, Aidan, it's Pete here, mate. To be honest, I shit you not, that's exactly what Brett said about 30 seconds before we spoke to you, that he wanted to throw you under the bus.
Look at my restream.
Yeah, hold on, let's get it up there. Hold on, let's do it. Wait 1 second. Okay, Aidan, what were you doing? Look at the restream. We're looking at the restream, buddy. There we go. That's what he thinks of that, Brett. How's you going race tonight, Aidan? It's been clean.
Yeah, it's been good. Struggled to get my head around it early. Have all night, to be honest. You've heard me doing some practice for an hour or two, so struggled to get my head around it. Indianapolis is usually one of my favourites, so I'm really happy for Indy to be up there in 4th, but be happy to come away with this one in the top 5, to be honest.
Well, mate, you're doing pretty good for that. You're up 3 from where you're qualifying. How's your tyres? Can you get home without fishtailing it around turn 4?
Yeah, we're good to go. Tyres hasn't been a big part, like it has a little bit, but yeah, just knowing how to drive. Because it's open setup, all the setups are different to what everyone's driving. So you might see some strong early, some strong late, like we've seen Davo and Jace Holdsworth tonight's had a wicked truck. That thing's been good on a long run. So yeah, we've sort of had nothing. We've known what our pace has been. We've just been running to that.
Yeah, it's been good to watch to Aidan. Before we throw you back, Brett, anything you'd like to say to Schultzy before we throw him back to his team?
Mate, just good luck for the remainder of the race, Aidan, and sorry I couldn't repay the favour of a few times of what you've done to me.
No, you just did, man. I'm not used to hearing you in the broadcast booth, and haven't heard you and me here in the race for a while, so that was a throw out, but good to see you up there, mate.
No worries. Thanks, buddy. Have a good run.
No worries.
Well, nailed it, Brett. Exactly what we thought would happen. 5 laps to go here. Dave Douglas, Luke Trahere doing a good job, and Jason Holdsworth, the word is, his truck is quick.
Yeah, and that is not surprising. Jason does a lot of work with his setups. He works on his setups and he works hard. And I mean, I've driven a couple of his setups, and I can't quite literally get my head around his car. I do some road courses, I do some oval courses. My oval course car, I tend to like it just a little bit stiff, whereas I like the road course car just that little bit softer, a little bit loose, and it just, I don't know, I just seem to be able to control the loose road car better than I can control a loose oval car.
Yeah, I can't control either, so you've got the wood on me on both, even if you can't control them as good. Brett, I think you got the wood on me on those, both of them. Dave Douglas has got the wood on everyone here tonight. Luke Trahere is getting through. He must be listening, I think, because he's not letting that lap traffic avoid him. 1.0 seconds the margin, 4 laps to go. 80 laps, Brett. We've been driving around Indianapolis for the Skypoynt NASCAR Trucks E-Series. It's been a great race, hasn't it, mate? There's one caution How many did you think we were going to get, you know, leading into it?
Mate, I would have said probably 2, maybe 3, and maybe if I was driving, there probably would have been 2, maybe 3 cautions. But I mean, like I said, this is a hard track, not only on the machinery, it's a hard track on the driver. You get it right, you're in for a good race. You get it wrong, you're in for a world of pain.
It's a love-hate track from most of these drivers here tonight, and that's probably due to exactly that. You either do good or you do bad, no medium. And that's what I've heard about lap times when I was in the practice session early. You either do good or you do really bad. One guy that's doing really, really good, Dave Douglas, is going to do really well for his championship as well. A hot contender to take out the Royal Triple Crown, $1,000 up to grabs. To win the Daytona leg, take Talladega leg, and also take out the championship. Well, some of the boys from Skypoynt happily will give you some cash, $1,000 in fact. Dave Douglas, Michael Skurlock, he's made his job a lot harder to get that as well, but that's what's into play, and also other prizes for the rest of the podium as well. 2 laps to go here. Dave Douglas doing a great job to utilise all this lap traffic, utilise strategy, and just keep doing what he's doing. Tick over round by round, race win, podium, take the championship points. He's going to take a bag here tonight if he stays where he is. Number 10, 2 laps to go. It's his race to lose, I think, Brett.
Yes, it's his race to lose, and the fact that he's starting to weave through some of this backmarker traffic, this could either make or break Dave's race.
One thing you don't want to do is get to the final lap and wreck your race as it goes down inside. Oof. Oh, that was
and
almost.
Luke Traher does the same move on the car behind there.
So these 2 drivers, they're like, yes, a final lap, but I'm still moving. So these guys are going to be battling to the end. A little bit wobbly there. We got a lap traffic now in between. Luke Traher, I think what are we about halfway through the final lap of this race. I think Dave Douglas has got it. Luke Traher still wants it. He's still trying to use this this lap traffic in between. I think he's going to run out of time though. Brett, Dave Douglas is going to win this thing. Mate, Brett, it is great to have you in commentary. Call Dave Douglas to the checkers, mate.
As Dave rounds the last corner, starts to getting the back a bit loose. Both he and Traher are starting to put on a bit of a sideways show for us. Not quite fully sideways, but giving it a bit of a fishtail there across the line for the first and second place.
Aidan Schultz finishes in 5th position, same place where he finished when we were talking to him as well, Brett. But, well, I tell you, Jason Holdsworth, we're going to speak to him in a minute on the podium. Good race for him, and I tell you, what they even say, his car's quick. It's been on song. But Dave Douglas, he kept getting out them leads, and there was no other driver could do it. Brett, what do you think his secret is? I suppose we'll ask him, but he probably won't tell us. But what do you think his secret is for, especially here at Indy, being so quick? Because he found it pretty easy, I thought, to get some airtime between him and Traher.
Mate, I think Dave's it's just the way he sets his car up and everything, and Dave's going to give us a bit of a show now with a bit of a burnout there. But what's interesting, Pete, is from 1st to 3rd place there was 2.54 seconds.
2.54 seconds. So that's a for oval terms really, as we watch Douglas light it up on the over the strike. But that's a fair gap for an oval race, isn't it? Good margin.
It is, and Pete, I mean, you look at the race that we were in the other day at Michigan in these vehicles in the official. That was still a very tight finish over the finish line in that race for us.
Sit with the fans, watching Dave Douglas do some burnouts. Number 10. buries his car, buries his sponsor stickers in smoke. It's the only time that you're not allowed to show your sponsors, I think, and that's when you're doing victory burnouts. But well deserved too. Dave Douglas, number 10, pops his engine, I think, too, straight across the brick line.
That it is, and like I said, Dave is an absolute top driver in this, and that's not taking anything away from any of the other drivers as well. They're all top drivers. They're all respectful drivers, and a lot of it, you've just got that odd time where you do have just that accidental lapse of concentration or something in a race that can very well end somebody else's race.
Yeah, and well, we only seen a couple of times that happen tonight. On one occasion we went to caution, which was how good was that? And that was way back on lap 20. So 60 laps green to finish this thing was absolutely sensational. Excuse me, sensational driving from everyone. Before we get into the green room and have a chat with our podium, Brett, this is the way round 11 of the Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Round up. Dave Douglas, 0.4 of a second between him and Trahere rather. Holdsworth, he's at the top 3 Nitro Racing. Andy Barber in 4th, Aidan Schulz, good showing from the Southern Stars and Skypoynt crew. 4th and 5th for them. Kobe Jordan, good race for him. Up a bag of points. Kobe up 25. Up 25 positions rather, not points. Craig Roffey, Noddy Tompkins, Greg Spencer, Malone. That's your top 10. So have a look at that. Southern Stars, mate. 1, 2, 3 in the top 10. They're happy about that for the team standpoint. But the podium, Douglas, Trahere, Holdsworth. Everyone's got something to smile about tonight. And if you're in Queensland, or Brisbane rather, you get a day off tomorrow.
Oh, how unfair is that? I've got to work.
Perks to being in Brisbane, mate, but how good was it? And good for you to stand in. And did you enjoy, mate, before we get into the podium? Hopefully you enjoy your time in here tonight. Hopefully not, first not last.
Mate, I enjoyed my time in here, much like I did helping you out with Michigan the other week. I'm quite willing if you need me to jump in any other time.
How good was it? I enjoyed every moment. The podium chat's full. Dave Douglas, Holdsworth, and Trahere's in there. Brett Campbell, let's jump down and let's get these interviews underway.
No worries.
How good was that? Round 11, Skypoynt NASCAR Truck E-Series. The podium awaits. Douglas, Trahere, Holdsworth, as we just spoke to. Brett's gone down there. And we'll go down there as well. Good evening, boys. How you going? No, all good. That's the way. I always risk doing that, but I like to do it different. That's why I come in talking. I just come in swinging. Just move.
That's it.
Just get out of me road. But how good was that? That's just dropping unannounced. They're having their post-race chats, but that's how we do it, and that's how we love it. Holdsworth, mate, you had a fast car. We spoke to Aidan on track, and he said your car was on song. Did it feel like that out there tonight?
Well, compared to the top 2, no. I was continually making a few little adjustments to try and get a little bit of extra speed, but just couldn't find it to get the front 2. They were just too quick today.
He just outside that draft too, so that was just after that last pit stop. I bet you're a little bit disappointed with that, but I think Brett actually probably should talk about this because he brought it up. You went in a lap later, the first stint, went at the same time. Were you hoping for a little bit of an undercut there with a little bit less fuel, less time, and try and get them both down pit, sort of the race off pit road?
I usually back my pitting abilities, to be honest. So I usually catch up to people in the pits. I don't know if you saw some practice. I was actually doing pit stop practice, quite a fair bit. But it wasn't as good as an advantage as I thought it might be. And obviously with the guys on a fresh set of tyres with an extra lap, they got a little bit further than I would have liked. But yeah, they nailed their pits as well, so they were on song all day.
It was a tie night. We all seen that, and Indianapolis, the new scanning as well. Did you notice any difference in the race surface?
I've never done a race here in the trucks, so I couldn't tell you what the old surface is like, to be honest.
Well, you have nothing to adjust to, so you're the winner there.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what it was like before. The boys might be able to tell you a bit more feedback on that from them.
Yeah, definitely we'll ask him. Brett, mate, I know you're dying to fire off some questions, but from me, Jace, good P3, and Brett will finish off this interview, mate.
Jace, one thing that we were talking about a lot during the broadcast was tyre wear. Were you finding that tyre wear here tonight was a major issue at all? Well, I did notice as you come out, or the lap after you come out that last pit stop, you had a bit of a slide there through 1 and 2.
That's because I threw the kitchen sink at the setup, to be honest, and it was a little bit too loose. I was just trying to find something extra because I was a little bit tight on entry, and obviously I loosened it up a bit too much, and it made me a little bit loose on exit. But yeah, it's just one of those tracks I haven't been to before. It's one of those things that we threw a setup on, fixed a few little things, and we usually play with quite a few little different things, and we just didn't have it today.
Yeah, as I was saying to Pete earlier, it's one of the things that I've noticed in all the racing that I've done with you and against you and I've even driven cars that you've got setups for and what have you. And I was saying to Pete before that I've found that a lot of your cars, when I'm driving them, I find it's really loose for me. And as I was saying to Pete, I prefer a tight car on the oval, whereas I prefer a looser car on road courses. Now, I don't know, is that a thing that you've sort of heard of yourself or that you can sort of compare?
Yeah, people will generally get taught different ways to drive. So for our team, we drive a lot off the right rear. So everyone sort of has their different setups of how they like to do things. It took me another 6 months to get used to driving off the right rear. But that's how our team always sets up our trucks. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I can't, to be honest, I can't drive a tight setup. It drives me insane. So I just don't know what to do. So yeah, it does make a difference, but a lot of it is driving style and a personal preference.
No worries. Well, thanks for that. Jason, is there anybody you'd like to thank or anything for tonight?
Yeah, obviously the guys at Nitro Racing, obviously providing me with the setups each week. This week was a unique one that we didn't have a base for and had to create something from scratch. Big massive thanks to Matt Coker, who actually came in and helped me today, and Anthony Pomoto, who's part of the team. They did some testing for me as well to try and quicken up the process. So massive thanks to all the guys at Nitro Racing.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Congratulations on your P3 tonight, mate. Dave Douglas and Luke Trahare just got the level on you tonight. Hopefully you can kick back next week, but move on forward, and you're going to be a strong contender for the rest of the championship, mate. Congratulations on your P3 here tonight, though.
Thank you.
Jayden Holdsworth, how good was that? Brett, Luke Trahare's in here as well, mate. P2, you had a good battle with Dave throughout the race. He was just that little bit quicker, but definitely it was looked like fun out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, good battle with Dave and good battle with Jason at the back. Yeah, the truck felt really good. That was sort of good running with those three up the front. Yeah, it was sort of going pretty cruisy. It was just good to sort of settle in and have a good run with those boys. So, I mean, Dave was always going to have the edge over me. But it was good hanging in his draft and sort of keeping that gap where he could. So, all in all, a good result.
Beneficial to stay in the draft with the way that you thought the race would play out, or were you happy either way to lead just the way Dave did if you got the opportunity?
Oh, look, if I was out front, I'd be happy to lead. The draft's not really a massive factor here with the trucks. Like, you can sort of hang in there a little bit. But I mean, with the way the race played out with the fuel balance and the laps, it wasn't too much of a factor. So either way it sort of played, that would have been pretty fine. But I was happy where I was and sort of see where it landed in the end. Factoring the pit stops and the only yellow of the race. Yeah, no, I was content where I was.
Well, it looked great. The way that you moved through the field, especially after your last pit stop, you all dived in together, and we just heard from Jace. It wasn't as beneficial as he thought to go the lap later, but he still got a podium, so it's definitely worth the points. Your pit strategy, you and your boys work obviously hard to get them right. What was your thought process? Just stick with the leader, or do you have your own plan?
I was just stick with the leader. There was no real sort of strategy. It was just sort of make sure we had enough fuel to get to the end. Get a good pit stop and get out. Jason was nailing his pit stops behind us and catching us that way with that last stop that he had. So it was about being crucial with that, making sure we weren't losing any time there. But yeah, I mean, the strategy overall wasn't sort of anything except for keep the tires under it. And I think as the race went on, we sort of realized that while the tires sort of came off a little bit, it wasn't anything too crucial where you sort of couldn't run the truck a bit hard if you had to. So yeah, it was pretty cruisy all night, all things considered.
Yeah, it looked pretty cruisy too. It looked like people just taking their time, sitting, making the moves when they had it, albeit it looked cruisy, but we had some big movers. We had people up 25 positions, we had people up 12, we had people up all sorts of positions. We were actually saying in commentary, and Brett will correct me, I think here if I'm wrong, but we were actually saying that the gains didn't, the personal gains within the field didn't really play up against the sort of the cleanliness of driving that we were seeing. Did you see it like that? It was very gentlemanlike out there tonight. That's how we saw it anyway.
Yeah, it definitely was. Everyone was very cordial. There's a lot of track to sort of work with and everything as well. So, big long straights, plenty of room for people to sort of get out of the way. So never a drama with anyone. Everyone was pretty transparent with what they were sort of doing in terms of the moves. So yeah, big thank you to everyone in the field. I know it's not. I know there's sort of the NASCAR leagues and that sort of thing. There's no blue flags here. No one has to sort of get out of the way. But I wouldn't begrudge anyone for not doing it. But everyone kept it super clean, and that was the only sort of thing where I guess a little bit cautious of towards the end of the race if a yellow came out because people started getting pushy. But it all sort of held its own throughout the pack by the seams for the entire night. So we're grateful for that.
Yeah, well, we take a lot out of this round, and we'll move into the next round next week, and hopefully we can see some more green runs. One caution period here tonight. I think everyone enjoyed the show and enjoyed the racing because there was plenty of it. Luke Traher, P2, congratulations on that one. Any shout outs to the people that get you there, mate?
Yeah, to shout out to the boys that I run with, Dave, Skirley, Merker not here tonight, but always a blast running with those guys. That's what we do it for. Thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Thanks to Skypoint for an awesome league. Looks like a great up and coming league, and I haven't raced here much, but it looks like good fun. So hopefully I'll sort of stick around a little bit and see what comes next. Thanks for Jason for pushing us behind there. Gave us a hell of a run. Congrats to Dave on the big win. Shout out Sim Boys. Shout out Kobe Jordan for the free rent. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, good on you, mate. That was awesome. But definitely. Congratulations to Luke for his P2. Brad, I can hear you there snickering a bit. Before we get to Dave, those two drivers, they deserve their positions, don't they?
They do, mate, and what an absolute marvellous drive by both Luke and Dave. Luke, one thing I haven't driven or raced against you a great deal, and I know you do a lot of NASCAR and that sort of thing. Did you notice any major issues with tyre wear with the new surface, or did they only do the rescan of the road track of Indy?
No, so when it was mentioned just before on that rescan, I wasn't actually sure myself that it was any different. I don't know if it was to do with the setup of the car or whether it's to do with the rescan. The tyres weren't that bad. It's probably the first time I've been around Indy, to be honest, without touching the wall. I don't think I touched the wall once. That's rare because you can definitely sort of get to it in the trucks. I think a lot of people probably found it the same way tonight as well. So that could have been a factor. It's only sort of dawned on me now that I didn't really have any incidents there. But I think I remember when I jumped in and sort of looked at it. I don't know if it's just because I haven't been here a while. It sort of caught my eye that it looked slightly different in some sort of way, but it could have just been my eyes playing tricks on me. So, to my knowledge, man, Could have been the setup of the car, could have been the rescan, but yeah, the tyre wear was pretty generous.
Nice to know for a relative novice like myself, because I know whenever I'm running around here, I have all sorts of trouble with tyre life.
I've usually been the same, mate, so it's it feels like you can just give it that little bit more now.
Awesome to hear.
Yeah, awesome to hear. A little bit more jandle and a little bit less concentration, or maybe not that. That's why I call races, not race them. But yeah, that was good insight there for the rescanning. But Dave Douglas, you got the W here tonight. It's no stranger to the booth here, mate. But by half a second, did you expect to win by that margin? That's a pretty big margin here on the oval scene.
Yeah, boys, yeah, back up here. But we got a new addition. Old Black Bretty's up here, as we call him, old Black Bretty. I didn't realise it was Brett Campbell until I just looked. I was like, wonder who this Brett is. And I look, it's Campbell. But mate, good to see you here, mate. But yeah, Pete, it was a good race. I'm not going to lie. It is probably one of my fastest tracks. This one and Pocono. And I'm going to give away the secret sauce here, mate. We ran the Pocono set, didn't touch it, bro.
Ooh, nice.
We were wondering if you were going to give away any secrets.
I think
Yeah,
I think I heard in the lead up to this that people were throwing that Pocono setup sort of around, going, "Oh, try this, maybe try that."
Yeah.
So, oh, you're onto something there. But did you hear that, everyone? If you didn't want to repeat it, I'm sure going to repeat it. Pocono
Yeah,
setup
definitely.
is good here at Indy, but
She's a
Dave,
goer.
yeah, she's a goer, that's for sure. Well, you got another W. Talk us through it, mate, because lap traffic they were nice here. Did you want to use them a little bit more, especially when Luke was charging down here at the end?
Yeah, the traffic was pretty good. There was one scary moment. I don't know if you saw it, but I think the 69 truck, or no, Cleggy, he got up in the wall in front of me. I had to back off, so I lost about 2 or 3 seconds there, and that's where Jace caught up to us. But yeah, I'm glad I backed out of it. Otherwise, I've been dead. But no, Luke obviously being a team player and team obviously on the same team, so he was happy to sort of play rear gunner for now, and just see how the race played out. If he come to it and he had an opportunity to win the race, for sure, go for it. But up to that point, he was being a team player, and he was just cruising behind us and then staying in check, I guess.
It was great to watch all you guys up the front. Talk us through Skirley. Did you catch what happened to him at the start of the race?
Mate, unbelievable. He we just went into quali, right, and his VR froze, so then he had to restart, and then went to log back in again, and then it froze up on login. So then he was loading again. Anyway, he ended up going back to the screen, and his field of view was all whacked or something like that. Anyway, he got out back on the lead lap under that first caution, and then because of his field of view, he couldn't see the pit entry. There was something funny went on there, and so he hit the pit wall apparently, or something like that, he said. So, absolute disaster for him. So yeah, sucks that he couldn't be up here. Otherwise, he'd probably be up here with Jason and those guys and having a good race as well. No, so shame.
No doubt. You guys are put on a good charge for the championship and the Royal Triple Crown as well.
Definitely.
But it's been pretty good. Brett, I'll give you the honours, mate. You've done an absolute stellar job in commentary. Dave, he said it was good to see you up here, but yeah, definitely helped me out and definitely filled the very big boots of Jai. Jai also does a fantastic job in
Where's
here.
he tonight? Is he off crook, is he?
He's crook, yeah. So he's pulled a sickie on me. He's given me
shout out to Jai then.
yeah, Jai, get better, mate. Yeah, we got a 12-hour call on Sunday.
I think I'm actually your good luck charm, Dave, because whenever I'm up in the booth, you end up in first place.
Yeah, mate, just keep it going, mate. We can get Jai and Brett, mate. There's plenty of room in this booth, mate. Trust me.
Congratulations, Dave. And I'll ask the same question as I asked at both Jason and Luke. Did you find any dramas with tyre wear like there used to be here at Indianapolis?
No, obviously being a Pocono set, we had no idea, a bit of an idea, but not really how it would go over a full race run. And honestly, the tyre wear was like point for point, front to rear, so it was really balanced. So, like I pushed the whole set, the whole run, so it sort of never went away. Never got loose. It just sort of was able to push it the whole way through, and it just saved the tyres. It was really good. But to answer your question on the scan, I'm not sure because my line into turn 2, there's a little bump in the road that used to be there. It's still there. So whether or not they've scanned it again and it's still there, but who knows? But I'm going to say the oval's not rescanned and it's just a inner track maybe.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking.
But I've got no idea.
I actually thought that it was the inside, the road track that they'd rescanned, not the oval, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, no, so still no clearer, but I'm going to say no, just to give you an answer, mate. But yeah, no, tyre wear was good on our car. Held the tyres on, and yeah, it was really good.
Awesome, very good to hear. Anybody you'd like to thank, Dave, at all?
Obviously, big shout out to the boys, the Bandits, the BMX Bandits. Obviously, the big BMX. You can see chucking a little skiddy on the back of the truck there. Luke and Skirley and Mirko, shout out those guys. Big shout out to Tom and Andy for putting on the leg as always, week in week out, doing all the hard yards. And you guys obviously in the booth and LA Esports, Pete and Brett and Jai, get well, brother. And just a shout out to Jace as well, because he's had some bad luck this season. It's good to see him get a good result, because he definitely deserves to be up here more often. So well done to old Holsworth there. And that's probably about it. Other than that, just, the guys racing nice and clean. It's what we like to see.
It was a great night of racing. Cheers again, Dave, and congratulations on your P1. Congratulations for P2, Luke Trahan and Jason Holdsworth. A bit of luck this time, and well, better luck, I should say, than the rest of the series has been for you. So that's on the up and up, hopefully, for the rest of them. But good chat again, Dave. Got the win again, mate. Yeah, I feel it's not going to be the last. We've still got quite a few rounds to go, but yeah, definitely keep pushing, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, boys. It's always good. Always a pleasure being up here. Thanks, guys.
No worries. Thanks, Dave. And once again, congratulations to our place getters.
How good was that, Brett? You jumped in probably with about 10 laps into the race, and you fit like an absolute glove. Yeah, to fill the boots, and I tell you, Joe was still missed, but you filled that gap definitely, and you put your spell on it. And anytime, mate, you're more than welcome. But thank you very much for joining me tonight. But congratulations again to podium, David, Douglas, Treher, and Holdsworth. Round 11 of the Skypoynt NASCAR Trucks E-Series is run and done. We spoke to our podium. We got all that out of the way. How good was Indianapolis? We'll get some more facts on if the outer circuit or the oval is in fact scanned or not, just the in-field. We'll get a bit of homework on the back of that. But again, congratulations to everyone. Thanks to all the admins and all the sponsors to get us here. My name's Peter Gretton. Brett Campbell joined me in the commentary for this one. Get well, Jai. Daytona 12-hour Taipan events on Sunday, live on LR Esports. We'll catch you then.
Yeah,
Have a good one. Cheers.